podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, predictions, sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What's going on, everyone? It's the EVP from the EVP Show and the Golden Boy of DWE, and I'm back live again for the second half of Doubleheader Tuesday, which will be the last Doubleheader Tuesday until probably around August or September. I was on earlier with Miami the Great as we were covering the Super Bowl recap. And yeah, so I also made the announcement at the end of the Super Bowl recap that next Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern will be the debut of the TNA recap show. So it'll be a new show coming to the EVP show channel to take the place of NFL while NFL is out right now. I kind of do this before every stream. Obviously, I'll kind of explain everything after the video is played, but after the Slam podcast, obviously you can see it on my page. Anybody, Miami, Final Boss Baby, after the Slam, anybody affiliated with DWE, after the Slam is brought in and is doing a raffle for the WWF Intercontinental Championship belt. So I am going to play the video for you where he explains all about the raffle and how to get entered. I will then explain a little bit more in detail after the video, and then we will get to your NXT recap for tonight. Next week is packed show, and then 2 weeks in Atlanta, we're going to get JC Jane, my queen, against Sol Ruka, which I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also thinking we're going to see a heel turn from Zarya. So we'll see. But let's go ahead and go to this video from After the Slam podcast about this raffle that we are doing from DWE. After the Slam is the one that put it on. Yeah, so you guys can see how you can get entered into this raffle.
Hey guys, it's me, Bodacious Albert from the After the Slam podcast, and today we are announcing big news. For the first time in After the Slam history, we are going to do our first raffle giveaway. After the Slam podcast and the DWE, we're giving away our first championship belt. It's easy to enter. All you got to do is scan that QR code and pay $15 to enter the raffle. And guess what? It's simple. If every $15 you put in, it's an extra raffle and a better spot for you to win. And what am I talking about? We are giving away the classic Intercontinental Championship. This title is going to be given away to a lucky winner. All you got to do is scan that QR code and pay that $15. Imagine winning a championship belt for only $15. But there's also a catch. You need to subscribe to all of the DWE members' YouTube channels. After the Slam, Talk It Up, and the EVP Show. So get going. Get a chance to win an IC championship belt. Shipped straight to your door. Only $15. It's all in your hands. The funds of this contest will go on to buying a new championship belt every single month, so we can do a giveaway. So don't miss it. Become the Intercontinental Champion of the IWC. For more info, look at the description below and you can see all the details there. Become the Intercontinental Champion.
Here is the QR code. So it's pretty simple, guys. So you just go to that QR code. Obviously, you can find it on my page, on the videos on there. After Slam has it on his YouTube podcast page. I have it on my TikTok. Miami has it everywhere. Final Boss Baby. I believe Reg and Greg have it. It's all over the place. You scan the QR code, you pay the $15 to After Slam through the QR code, you PayPal to enter the raffle for the WWF Old School Intercontinental Championship. Like in the video you've seen, Razor Ramon, Jeff Jarrett, Macho Man Randy Savage, so many great legends have held that title. So the only thing is like you can enter as many times as you want. So like, $15 at a chance to win that Intercontinental Championship is an absolute steal. I wish I could get it for $15. So, but the only catch is, like he said in the video, is that you, in order to completely qualify for the raffle, which will run all the way until the end of February till Elimination Chamber, and then After the Slam will announce the winner March 1st on After the Slam podcast, is you have to subscribe to After the Slam podcast YouTube channel, Talk It Up Wrestling podcast YouTube channel, and also my YouTube channel, which is at the VP Show. Once you have subscribed to all three of them, you scan the QR code, send the $15, or how many ever 15s you want to send. The more 15s you send, the more chances you get to win that WWF Intercontinental Championship in the raffle. As he said, all the proceeds will go to the next belt that will be put up in the month of March. I'm unsure which belt that is because he hasn't told me yet, or we haven't announced it. But Miami did announce on the NFL show that there also is going to be a WWE 2K giveaway with basically the same rules, except for people need to follow and subscribe to DWE's Twitch and Spotify as well. I don't know if you have to subscribe to Spotify, but it's going to be basically the same thing, but with the Twitch, DWE's Twitch as well, for the WWE 2K26 games. So there's going to be two. We already have this giveaway going. There's going to be two giveaways in March. So you got to be on the lookout. Big things coming. Title belts, WWE 2K26. Don't miss your chance to be the IWC Intercontinental Champion. If you have any questions in regards to how to enter, like I said, I have the video on my TikTok page, on my Instagram page as well. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Miami, Final Boss Baby, After the Slam, anybody affiliated with WWE, and we can guide you in the right direction. But make sure that you are subscribing to their YouTube channel because we are paying attention to that. So as long as you're sub to all three of those channels and you have scanned that QR code and paid that $15, you will go into that raffle to win that, to have a chance to win that WWF Intercontinental Championship belt. It's all in your hands, just like After the Slam. So don't waste any time because we have about 18 days left. So you definitely want to go ahead and get started with that. So let's go ahead and get started with the NXT recap. A lot happened in 2 hours tonight. I missed the first 5 minutes. I usually do. But I rewinded it. That's why I started a couple of minutes late so that I could get all of the information for you guys. Next week's show is massive. A lot of matches. And then we saw the super slow burn. We saw Ruka and Zarya on the Zarya heel turn. Zarya was super pissed at the end of the show. Saw Ruka completely botched the Soul Snatcher on Kendall Gray. I was not happy about that. She rarely ever botches that move, but she I don't know if it was her that botched or Kendall, but Kendall fell and Saul hadn't even hit the move yet. But Saul Rico is going on to Atlanta in two weeks to face JC Jane for that women's NXT championship. So interesting to see what they do, because those two people I feel like that's going to be coming up to the main roster soon. So I don't know. It's a perfect time, I feel like, for Zarya to turn. I mean, they could have Soul win the title and then Zarya win it off of Soul. And then JC and Soul come up. But I really thought it could be Kendall Gray. It seemed like they've been molding Kendall. But we'll see. So tonight's WWE NXT airing is from the Capitol Wrestling Center, obviously in Orlando. You're going to see them traveling a little bit over the next couple of weeks. You're going to see Josh Briggs going one-on-one with Eli Knight in a WWE Men's Speed Championship #1 Contenders Tournament Finals match, with the winner to face Jasper Troy for that WWE Men's Speed Championship. Plus, we're going to finally get Jada Parker, which it was definitely an expected outcome. I didn't expect either one of them to get beat. I think this feud's they're probably gonna end up wrestling again in Atlanta, I would think. I think this feud's gonna go on for a while. Jada Parker going one-on-one versus the Glamour Blake Monroe, and it's just a plain singles match, but a great one. So the show opens up with a video package looking back at last week's episode of NXT. Vic Joseph and WWE Hall of Famer Booker T then welcome us to the show, and we get the new WWE NXT Men's Champion Joe Hendry's music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. Joe's obviously working it up with the crowd. He is the new NXT champion. Been a couple of months since he's held a championship. Shout out to the WWE host for reposting the stream. Joe then turns in the ring and starts off by telling the fans to say his name, and he appears. Joe then says, "He is your NXT champion." Are you guys able to see this on my X? Because I was not able to find the NFL one. I had to literally go onto my MacBook and look for it. So yeah, I don't know. I have to look after the show's over, I guess. But I didn't see the NFL one until afterwards. Joe then says he is your NXT champion. He says he wants to thank you for believing in him. Joe then says, while you never stopped believing in him, he did have some doubts in the match last week. Joe says he had never been in a high-stakes ladder match, and he was in pain, but he saw Ricky Saints. Joe then says he saw Ricky about to become the champion again, and he heard the people say, "We believe." Joe then says they gave him the power to climb the ladder and sent Ricky crashing through the ladder. Joe then said there was no doubt that he was the new NXT champion. Joe then says in that moment he had no reason to doubt himself. He says his climb started before he came to NXT. Joe says winning amateur titles in the UK was a step. He says winning the TNA title was also a step. Joe then says his song charting around the world was a step. Joe then also said that facing the Viper Randy Orton at WrestleMania was a huge step as well. Joe then says he is the champion now, and the climb does not stop. Joe then says it is just getting started. Joe then says that they're going to take NXT to new heights. And Joe then says, "We believe" is not a catchphrase. So then, before he's finished talking, Joe Hendry is interrupted by the Vanity Project and Jackson Drake, the WWE Men's Evolved champion. He says that was inspiration. Jackson then says he could run through a freaking wall. Jackson then says, "You are looking at the Evolved champion and you shut your mouth when he talks." Jackson then says Joe should be a motivational speaker or start a podcast. Interesting. Jackson then says, as champion, you are mid at best. A lot of us love to use that word mid. So I love that. Jackson then says, you go viral for singing a stupid song. Jackson then says, he goes viral for looking that good. Jackson then says, you never should have been in that ladder match. Jackson, Ricky, and Brad then enter the ring, and Jackson says they were the ones who attacked Joe. Jackson then says they tried to take him out because he did not belong. Joe then says, you tried to take him out of the match, but it didn't work. Joe then tells Jackson Drake if they coordinated their attacks better than their outfits, it might have worked. That was funny. Drake then suggests that they take the advice of their friend Ethan Page and finish the job. Joe then says, since you admit that you attacked him, he has no problem kicking your ass and defending the title tonight. Joe then punches Jackson Drake, Brad, and Ricky. Joe then hits a follow-away slam, and Drake hits a chop block. When Joe goes for the standing ovation on Brad, Drake then hits a running dropkick while Brad and Ricky hold Joe. Drake then eventually gets his shirt off, and he takes the title belt and does the turn, mocking Joe Henry. So that match officially gets made for tonight. Jackson Henry is going to go after the NXT Championship. And I told all you guys last night, don't freak out. AJ Lee is going to wrestle back to back. She's going to wrestle the Chamber and Mania. Just calm down. It's going to be okay. Triple H loves to run matches back. This is what he does. We then see Sol Ruka and Zarya in the locker room, and Sol asks if last week was too much. Zarya then asks about the Soul Snatcher, and Sol says it was an accident. She then says they are a great team, and one of them need to win tonight. Zarya then says tonight is her chance. Sol then says if she wins, and Zarya wants to know why, it can't be her time. She then tells Sol they need to stay out of each other's way, and Zarya leaves. This shit has been going on for a long time with Zarya and Sol Ruka. So then we get a promo from the lovely Jada Parker. She says everyone who tries her gets taken care of. Jada then says this ass whooping is all about you, Blake. So we then see Keanu Carver yelling at Robert Stone. Tonight, Robert Stone just could not keep it together. It was just too much commotion for him. I don't think he's going to be able to handle the job. Keanu is yelling at Robert about Jackson Drake getting a title match. Stone says he came first, and Sean wants chaos. Keanu then says he understands, and he starts to walk away, and Stone stops him. But Keanu asks Stone if he has a problem, and Stone lets him go. So we get our first match of the night, which it was the one I was on my thumbnail that I was looking forward to the most, which is Jada Parker makes her way down to the ring as she's going to go one-on-one versus the Glamour Blake Monroe. The match starts off with Jada attacking Blake, and the referee warns her. Blake then goes to the floor, and they both return to the ring. Blake fires off some punches and some kicks. Jada then hits an Irish whip, followed by a German suplex. Jada misses a splash into the corner, but Blake gets a roll-up for a near fall. Jada then hits a body scissors and some punches. Blake then hits some forearms, and Jada adds more pressure to the body scissors to stop her. Jada then moves into the center of the ring to keep Blake from getting to the ropes. Blake then rolls to get to the ropes to force a break. Blake then drops Jada on the top rope and hits a Luthez press. Jada then counters and hits a back elbow into the corner, but then Jada is sent into the turnbuckle and Blake hits some forearm to the back of her head. Jada throws Blake into the apron and kicks Blake off of the apron. Blake then sends Jada into the announce desk. Blake then hits a kick to the ribs, and they return to the ring. So Blake then throws Jada in the ropes and kicks her. Blake then hits a suplex and gets a near fall. Blake begins to choke Jada in the ropes. Blake goes for a suplex, but Blake slips, and it turns into a brain buster, and Blake gets a near fall. Jada then blocks a suplex and hits some forearms. Blake then hits a sling blade for another near fall. Blake applies the crossface, slams Jada's head into the mat. Jada then rolls over to get a near fall. Blake then holds on to the crossface. Jada then gets another roll up, but Blake hits a punch and she sends Jada into the turnbuckles. So Blake begins to choke Jada again in the corner, and then she mocks Jada by doing that dance that Jada Parker does, and she eventually runs into an elbow. Blake then hits a handstand Karana, followed by a drop kick. Jada blocks a knee, and Jada hits a back elbow and a forearm. Jada then hits a back elbow and a clothesline. Jada then gets Blake on her shoulders and hits a Samoan drop. Everybody's using that Samoan drop now. Jada then runs into a back elbow, and Blake hits a kick. Jada puts Blake in the ropes, and she sets up for the springboard Caesar splash, and she hits it. Blake then rolls to the floor to avoid the hip. Blake chops Jada, and they exchange punches. Jada then sends Blake into the ring steps. Jada then misses a knee against the ringside barrier. That looked like it hurt. Blake then hits a headbutt, and the referee gets to the count of 10. So this match is far from over with Jada Parker and Blake Monroe. This match ends in a double countout. After the match, officials make their way out to try to stop the brawl. Jada then hangs Blake on the apron and steps and hits a seated splash onto Blake. Jada then goes for her famous running hit and hits a referee when Blake moves. Blake then gets into the crowd while Jada attacks security and kicks one of them through the ringside barrier. So we then get a vignette package of Tatum Paxley. Tatum asks if you were ever around people where you felt suffocated. Tatum then says, that is the way it was with Izzy. Tatum then says the harder she tried to stay above water, the more she sank. Tatum then says she looked for something to complete her. Tatum then says she was looking for 4 pieces of her. Tatum then says she needed to control the story, but she held on too tightly. Tatum then says she lost sight of who she was, so she let go. Tatum then says when she did, everything slowed down. Tatum then says the noise disappeared and she saw things very clearly. Tatum then says it was already inside her. Tatum then says this feud isn't about control, it is about clarity and being in the right mindset. Tatum says she will not walk out of this as the Tatum Paxley Izzy tried to create, but the Tatum Paxley she is. So look for Tatum Paxley, I believe, to be the one to take that North American Championship off of Izzy Dame. Big, huge vignette from her. So we go to the back. We see Kel Dixon yelling at Uriah Connors for walking out on them. He then says Chase U was dead, and they built it back. Uriah then says Chase held him back. So then out of nowhere comes Ariana Grace and the TNA International Champion Shannon Stacks Lorenzo and Lexis King then show up. And Kel says he didn't want to listen to them. Uriah then says he wanted to walk away from his dad's legacy. Lexis then says they figured out what they need to do and there's one more piece left. Uriah then says he has a bit of history, so he will deal with it. I don't know who they're talking about. Could be Charlie Dempsey. We'll see. So we get to the next match of the night, which is Eli Knight going one-on-one with Josh Briggs in the finals of the WWE Men's Speed Championship #1 contender final match. With the winner going on to face Jasper Choi for the WWE Speed Championship. The match starts off with Josh missing a boot, but he hits a clothesline. Josh hits a forearm, and remember this match only lasts like 5 minutes, so you gotta get a quick pinfall here. Josh then hits a forearm and an Irish whip, but Eli, I don't know why it says Eli Knight. I think it's Eli the 4. I don't know why I said that. Josh and it's now, but Eli goes to the apron and he hits a crossbody, and Josh rolls to the floor. Eli is then grabbed by Josh from the floor, but Eli kicks Josh off the apron. Eli then hits a double jump moonsault onto Josh. Josh then hits a back elbow and a hip toss into a backbreaker. Josh then hits a northern lariat for a near fall. Josh then slams Eli's head into the mat, and he sets up for a choke slam, but Eli counters with a victory roll. Eli then lands on his feet on a back body drop, and hits a super kick and a flying boot. Then Eli connects with a moonsault for the 1-2-3. So here we go. It is Eli Blake. I mean Eli Knight. I'm sorry. He has advanced into the finals of the men's championship. Eli Knight. After the match, Elio the 4 and Eli Knight are in the ring, and they shake hands. Shout out to Talk It Up Wrestling Podcast. I mentioned them earlier in the raffle. Make sure you give them a follow and a subscription on X, as well as After Sun Podcast and the EVP show. And hit that QR code because it's all in your hands to be able to be the IWC Intercontinental Champion. Don't miss out. 18 days remain to get into that raffle. After the match, Elio the 4 and Eli Knight are in the ring, and they shake hands. Jasper Choi then attacks both men, and he choke slams Eli onto Elio's back. So the men's speed champion, the LFG Season 1 winner, Jasper Choi, stands tall. We then see Dark State walking in the backstage area. So then we see Lola Vice, who we all know won the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships this past weekend with Mr. Iguana against Ethan Page. I don't remember who his partner was, but I know it wasn't Chelsea Green because she has an injured foot. And Lola obviously has an injury as well. Robert Stone stops by and congratulates her and says if Lola is ready, he has a match for Lola next week against Kalani Jordan. Lola then says she wants to match. The referee then tells the doctor, and Stone says that they need to show up. And then Kalani Jordan again attacks Lola Vice from behind and starts to work on the hand. So Kalani and Lola just have this feud. It's like I wasn't going to use this for next week's Dawn because like I think I've used this like twice. This is like the third time that they wrestle. So we then see the lounge destroyed, and Keanu Carver is the one standing. He has started to wreck shop in the back. Robert Stone has completely lost control tonight. Dark State make their way down to the ring to address the NXT universe, and they grab a mic. Deion Lennox says he climbed the ladder and touched the belt, and he realized that he belonged in the main event. He then says they set a standard for greatness. He then says that title was snatched from his hand and it is a matter of time before he has it. He then says it doesn't matter who is the champion because they are his target. Then Cutler James, formerly from LFG, then says Dion is the future, but Tony said some damaging words about them. He then says you have nothing and you want to make your triumphant return when nothing has changed. He then says Dark State is stronger than ever and you are lonelier than usual, referring to Tony D. So they had to destroy a pillar of the NXT to get where they are. He then says that pillar is you. He then says this is your first and final warning to Tony D. So Osiris Griffin then says they haven't forgotten about Spears and Nico. Saquon then says he wants to know, what were you thinking? He then says, did you think you are worthy of these titles? He then says, you will never catch. Nico Vance and Sean Spears from the Cullen, obviously representing Izzy Dame as well, the Women's North American Champion. They appear on the balcony. He then says they will not go into a 4-on-2 situation. He then says they are too smart. He then says they plan now and they will conquer later. He says that is their plan. Nico then says they feast on weakness. He then says you are what you sought. He then says you are the hunted and they are the hunters. The lights then go out and we have some dark state lighting. So Bronco Nima then appears in the crowd and he said they decided to take a page out of Dark State's playbook. He then says they should have the tag titles if it wasn't for the Vanity Project. Price then tells Nico and Spears to wait, but they are not missing twice. So then out comes the former NXT tag champions Hank and Tank. And Tank says they are the only ones with an acquired taste for the titles. He then says after they are done with the Vanity Project, they are coming for the tag titles. We then get a brawl while everyone fights to the back. And out comes Tony D'Angelo. He hits a spear to Dion Lennox and Cutler James. And then he hits a spine buster to Dion Lennox. Tony D'Angelo is here for some revenge on Dark State. Robert Stone is then told that the tag teams have been separated. So this was actually Kelly Kincaid's last appearance on NXT, as her contract expired on February the 14th. So we will not see Kelly Kincaid back as being reporting on backstage for NXT anymore. So we wish Kelly Kincaid the best on her future endeavors. Hopefully, maybe she gets signed somewhere because she does a really good job. She asked Stone about the chaos in the tag division. Stone says the winner of the triple threat match next week between Hank and Tank, OTM, and the Cullen will face Dark State, which eventually turns into a fatal 4-way. So next week we're going to get Hank and Tank, OTM, and the Cullen going up against Dark State for those tag titles. Shiloh Hill is now in Stone's office, and he is just completely off his rocker. Obviously, I followed him from LFG Season 2. He's crazy, funny. Shiloh, Stone tells him he is busy. Ethan Page then shows up, and he asks Shiloh to leave the office. Stone then says they will catch up later. Stone then asks the champ what is up. Page then says he is tied with the most North American title matches. Stone then asks about Elio the Four. Page then mentions who he beat in TNA and also in AAA, and he told him to keep it in-house in NXT. Stone then says he will give Ethan Page Miles Bourne. And Ethan said, absolutely not, which I did say like a week or two ago. I felt like Miles Bourne was going to be the one to take that title off of Ethan Page eventually. So that's why they're not doing the match right now. Shiloh then returns to get his knife, and Ethan Page suggests him and Stone make the match. So it is going to be a triple threat number one contender tag team match next week. It'll be OTM, Hank and Tank, and the Cullen. The winner will face Dark State for the tag titles. And then next week, All Ego, Ethan Page defends his North American Championship to break the record against LFG Season 2 winner Shiloh Hill. He got a NXT Championship match last week in the ladder match, and now he's going for Ethan Page's North American title. So the Vanity Project then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, followed by the WWE NXT champion Joe Hendry. So the match starts off with Jackson hitting a drop kick in the corner. Jake then hits a swanton for a near fall. He hits some kicks and an enziguri. Drake then hits a shooting star press. And Joe rolls through and hits a Samoan drop. Joe then gets a bill and hits a back body drop. Joe clotheslines Drake over the top rope into the floor. Drake then hits a shot to the throat, and Joe avoids being sent into the apron, and he sends Drake into the apron. They both return to the ring. Joe applies a side headlock takedown. Drake then hits a head scissors. Joe then applies a side headlock and hits another side headlock takedown. Joe escapes a slam, and Joe hits a slam for a near fall. This was a pretty good match. So Drake applies a front face lock and hits some more knees to Joe Henry. Drake then hits a hard Irish whip to Joe, and he gets a near fall. Drake goes for a suplex, and Joe blocks it. Drake then lands on his feet. He hits a neck breaker for a near fall, but Joe reverses, hits a neck breaker, and follows with some punches. Joe then hits a discus clothesline and hits a fall away slam. Then Joe Henry does the famous turn. Joe then sets up for a standing ovation, and Drake escapes. But then Joe hits an Olympic slam, Kurt Angle style, for a near fall. Drake then immediately goes for a roll-up, gets a near fall, hits a German suplex, and another close near fall. Drake then goes to the turnbuckles, but Joe catches him, and Joe hits a powerbomb after countering a Hurricane Rana attempt, and then Joe hits the standing ovation for the 1, 2, 3, and still your men's NXT heavyweight champion is Joe Henry. Wave your hands. After the match, Joe sets up for the turn, but he is attacked by a guy. Man, they're copying. WWE loves these fucking mask hoodie guys. Jesus, my lord. He's attacked by a hooded sweatpants guy and is revealed to be the absolute Ricky Saints. Ricky takes care of Joe, so they're setting up the Ricky Saints Joe Henry match, apparently. So we go to the back and we see Ren Sinclair. I love Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray telling Kendall Gray that they're a team and that that is their advantage. Kendall then says JC doesn't want to see either of them. She then says they're going to bring the win. So then we get the former NXT Tag Champions Hank Walker and Tank Ledger make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, and the Vanity Project follows. So we're going to have the Vanity Project swipe right, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes versus Hank and Tank. Not going to go through this entire match. We're almost 40 minutes into the stream. It was a good tag match. So I'm glad that Hank and Tank's back on the main roster, or back on the NXT roster. I love both of these teams, to be honest with you. The tag team division is a lot better on NXT than it is on the main roster, I think. So Hank hits a wheelbarrow, but Brad breaks up the cover. Brad tags in. Brad hits a spine buster, but Tank breaks up the cover. Tank then hits a shoulder tackle to Brad. Tank then has a clothesline. Other tag teams then come out, and there's confusion by the entrance. Drake then hits a flying knee, and Brad gets the 1, 2, 3 off the distraction. The Vanity Project steal the win against Hank and Tank. So the winners of the tag team match, the Vanity Project, swipe right, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. It is announced that next week, Shiloh Hill faces Ethan Page for the NXT North American title, and Kalani Jordan faces Lola Vice. So then we again see Kelly Kincaid with Sean Legacy, and she asks about what happened with Keanu Carver. Sean says he was caught in Keanu's path of destruction, just like last week. Sean says last week was the biggest match of his career, and Keanu put him through a wall. Sean then says he wants to fight Keanu Carver. He says he is a badass and scares almost everyone in the locker room. Sean then says Kiana will know that he is in a fight against him. Sean then challenges Keanu to a match in 2 weeks in his backyard. So in 2 weeks, I guess in Atlanta, we're going to see Sean Legacy go one-on-one with Keanu Carver in Atlanta. 2 weeks, not next week. So we didn't see Vanity Project, and they want to know why they aren't in the #1 contender match next week. Robert Stone then adds them to the match. As I said, it will be a fatal 4-way. The Vanity Project, OTM, Hank and Tank, and I don't remember who the other team is, but it's a fatal 4-way. I'm sure I'll announce it toward the end of the show. Oh, man. So Robert Stone then adds him to the match. Miles Bourne then asks Stone, why does Shallow get a match over him? Stone then says that maybe Bourne needs to do something out of his character. It is then announced that next week, Elio IV faces Eli Knight in a speed match. Tony D'Angelo will, okay, so Elio IV and Eli Knight will go one-on-one. That's going to be the championship of the finals to decide who faces Jasper Troy. And Tony D will face Dark State's Cutler James. And the triple threat match is now a fatal 4-way. So then we get to the main event of the evening, Zarya and Saruka going. And the way this match is going to work is it's going to be Zarya and Saruka versus Ren CC, Ren Sinclair, and Kendall Gray. And whoever scores the pinfall will get a NXT Women's Championship match against JC Jane in 2 weeks in Atlanta. Whoever gets the pinfall is the #1 contender. This is where the fucking botch was so bad. The match starts off with Kendall Gray getting a roll up on Soul for a near fall. Kendall then lands on her feet on a back body drop. Soul then hits a handspring and she misses a moonsault. Kendall then hits a drop kick and applies a waist lock and she hits a takedown. Soul then hits a standing switch and a takedown. Kendall Gray then hits a back elbow and she avoids Saruka and goes to the apron. Ren then tags in and Gray trips Saruka. Ren then applies a Mita lock and Gray hits a drop kick. Ren then gets a near fall. Ren then applies a wrist lock and Soul hits a back heel kick. Soul then hits an Irish whip and a hip into the corner. Zarya reluctantly tags in. She wasn't tagged in. She tagged herself in. And she hits a splash. Soul then hits a splash off of Zarya's back. Zarya then pushes Soul, and the referee calls it a tag. So Saruka's down on the floor. Obviously, she got tagged in. Soul then hits a snapmare, and Zarya pulls Soul off on a cover. Zarya said this is her turn. Like I said, I think Zarya is going to end up costing Saruka that match against JC Jane. Ren then gets a roll-up for a near fall. So also goes for a roll-up. Doesn't get it. Soul then hits an X Factor for a near fall. Zarya then makes the blind tag again, and Saruka is pissed. Ren then goes for a abdominal stretch, but Zarya blocks it. Ren then sends Zarya into the ropes, and Ren hits a drop kick, and Kendall Gray tags in. Kendall then hits a slingshot double stomp and almost gets the pinfall. Kendall applies a front face lock, and Zarya pushes Gray away. Gray then hits a kick, and they go for a double suplex, but Zarya blocks it and hits a double suplex of her own. So then Soul tags herself in, and they hit a double back elbow. Zarya then reluctantly does the double elbow drop, and Soul gets a cover, but Zarya breaks it up again. They then begin to argue, then all 4 women start to exchange punches in the ring. Zarya then almost hits Soul, but Ren and Gray hit a double drop kick that sends Zarya into Soul and knocks her into the outside. Ren and Gray then send Zarya and Soul to the floor with clotheslines. Ren then hits a crossbody, and Gray hits a moonsault onto Zarya and Soul. Ren then sends Soul into the ring, and she gets a series of near falls. Ren applies a hammerlock, and she sends Soul into the turnbuckles. Ren hits a shoulder tackle, and Kendall Gray tags in. Ren hits a splash, and Gray hits a hip into the corner. Gray then hits a suplex to Sol Ruka for a near fall, but she then applies a front face lock. Sol then hits a round kick, and Zarya tags herself in. Shout out to Wrestling RUS podcast. As I told you earlier, Wrestling RUS, don't stress it, brother. AJ and Becky's happening at WrestleMania. Don't worry about it, brother. AJ's wrestling back to back. She's gonna lose at Elimination Chamber. They're gonna run it back, brother. So I promise you, you're good. It's happening. Sol then hits a round kick. Zarya tags in. Zarya hits a clothesline to Kendall Gray, and she sends Gray into the turnbuckles. Zarya then hits some shoulders. Then hits a slam to Kendall Gray, and she gets another near fall. Gray then hits some forearms, and Zarya hits an Irish whip. Gray then floats over, and she gets a near fall with a sunset flip. Kendall Gray then begins to hit some chops, and Zarya hits a bicycle kick for a near fall. Zarya then gets Gray on her shoulders for a torture rack. Gray then hits some elbows, and she lands on her feet. Gray then hits a tornado DDT to Zarya. Sol then makes the tag, and so does Ren. Ren hits some punches, hits some clotheslines and a flying clothesline, and hits an overhead butterfly suplex and follows it up with an X Factor for a near fall. Best match of the night for sure. I just hated the ending because it was a botch. Sol hits a German suplex, then hits a missile drop kick to Ren. Sol misses a running kick, and Ren gets a roll up. Sol then hits a running knee for another near fall. I don't know why my phone keeps doing that. It's like my phone just automatically cuts off in the middle of my notes. I have a page of notes here, and it just automatically just cuts off. Sorry about that, guys. So, all right. I see it. Okay, I'm back. So Ren misses a splash and Sol hits a German suplex. Sol then hits a missile drop kick. Ren then escapes a slam. Sol gets a roll up. Zarya then tags in while Sol was setting up a soul snatcher. Ren then knocks Sol off the apron, and Zarya gets an inside cradle for a near fall. But what she didn't know is that Sol Ruka was tagged in. Ren then hits some kicks, but Zarya hits a headbutt. Then tags in. Gray floats over into a cross arm breaker. Zarya then gets a near fall. Zarya then hits a kick to Gray. Gray then counters the F5 into an inside cradle for a near fall. Zarya then hits a spear, but Sol is tagged in. And Zarya then hits an F5 on Ren, but Sol goes up top and hits the Soul Snatcher, but Kendall Gray hits the fucking ground before the Soul Snatcher is applied, and Sol Ruka gets the pinfall 1, 2, 3, and Zarya is staring a hole through Sol Ruka, but Sol Ruka gets the pinfall, and she is the number 1 contender and will face JC Jane in 2 weeks in Atlanta. After the match, Zarya slaps Sol's hand away, and out comes the Queen. She's going to be on Busted Open tonight. The Women's NXT Champion, JC Jane. Her music hits. She makes her way out with Fallon Henley and Laney Reed. Jane then holds up the NXT Women's Championship belt and stares down Sol Ruka as the show comes to a close. So yeah, pretty good show next week. We're going to get a fatal 4-way. for number one contender. We're gonna see Tony D in action. Ethan Page is going to defend the North American Championship against Shallow Hill. And Lola Bice is going to go one-on-one with oh shit, he's on the bet page. There you go. There we are. Look at us looking fucking sharp in that and Eagles and Patriots shit, but I'm ashamed to be wearing Patriots shit. Shout out to the Miami and EVP parlay page. That page is gonna be huge soon. Reposting the stream. Appreciate that. So that's it, guys, for the NXT. Like I said, next week, pretty big show, but I think the one in 2 weeks is going to be a lot bigger because we're going to see JT Jane defend that title in 2 weeks against Sol Ruca in Atlanta. And I also believe that we're going to see probably a rematch with Blake and Jada Parker. So shout out to Michael from Kicking Out at 2. Hey man, Shallow looking sharp today. Man, Shallow, bro. That man, he's a trip. Now I ain't gonna lie, I've been following him since season 1 of LFG. I used to do their recap. I knew he was gonna be a star, but like I was saying earlier, like he got an NXT championship match last week, and now he's gonna face. Look now on Scene Shopping. I already call this the graveyard show. Like, I'm lucky to get 70 in here. So, just don't do that. I'm trying to get to 100 at least, but I don't think I'm going to make it. And it's 10:30. It's early, but I'm running back-to-back shows. But this is the last doubleheader Tuesday, guys. It's super sad to say. I mean, it's not the last one forever, but it's the last one for a while. The NXT stream will not stop, obviously. But I will give you guys my new schedule. Moving forward. I will give you guys my new schedule moving forward at the very end. I will be adding a show to the EVP channel starting next week. I don't know what the hell is going on with X. Miami's saying that it's not letting the repost and stuff. So I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if we have to go in here and Miami, if you're listening, we may have to come in the StreamYard and reconnect because it does that shit sometimes. Because I didn't even see the NFL stream on my page. I had to go into my Mac and see it. So I don't know. Let me take a look really quick to even see if let me see if I can even see it on X. Twitter X is like tripping. I don't see it. I don't even see my live on X. Let's see what is going on with my X, guys. I'm looking right now. I do not even see my fucking. I think we're gonna have to reconnect, Miami. If you're still on the stream. Let me see. I don't even see it on mine. What the hell is going on with the X? Like, I do not see my shit. Anyway, guys, I don't know what's going on with X. But that's it for double header Tuesday. I can't even see my stream on X. I couldn't see the NFL one. I had to go in. I had to go in through my MacBook to see it. But thank you guys for showing up to the show. Doubleheader Tuesday has been going on for a long time. We got the Best Sports Podcast on YouTube and X, and it's just the beginning. Like we said earlier, it's not the end. It's just the beginning. There's so many big things that's going to come out of this. I'm working on a Discord right now for me in Miami. It should be ready within a week or two that we're going to be posting our plays in for people to join. I'm not putting them out on X anymore on YouTube. People are, cappers are doing it big on X right now. But I don't know what the hell is going on with X. So, thank you guys. But I will be back shortly. I'm going to play my outro, and then I will play After the Slam Podcast's video again. I've already went over everything at the beginning on how to enter this raffle, but make sure you listen to this video. Make sure you meet the qualifications. You have to scan that QR code, pay $15, and you have to subscribe to the EVP show, Talk It Up Wrestling podcast, and also After the Slam podcast to be entered into this raffle. It will end on February 28th, with the winner being drawn on March 1st. After the Slam. But appreciate you guys. Doubleheader Tuesday has been great. It's been on for a long while, but I do have something new cooking for you guys. And I'll let you guys know when I come back. I'm going to play my outro, and then I'll play After the Slam's video again, and I'll tell you where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up the rest of this week and the new show I have planned for next week. So don't go anywhere. I don't know what the hell is going on with X.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Predictions Sports. Let go, show recaps predictions sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Predictions Sports. Let go.
All right, guys. So here is the video from After the Slam on how to enter that WWF Intercontinental Championship raffle.
Hey guys, it's me, Bodacious Albert from the After the Slam podcast, and today we are announcing big news. For the first time in After the Slam history, we are going to do our first raffle giveaway. After the Slam podcast and the DWE, we're giving away our first championship belt. It's easy to enter. All you gotta do is scan that QR code and pay $15 to enter the raffle. And guess what? It's simple. If every $15 you put in, it's an extra raffle and a better spot for you to win. And what am I talking about? We are giving away the classic Intercontinental Championship. This title is going to be given away to a lucky winner. All you got to do is scan that QR code and pay that $15. Imagine winning a championship belt for only $15. But there's also a catch. You need to subscribe to all of the DWE members' YouTube channels. After the Slam, Talk It Up, and the EVP Show. So get going. Get a chance to win an IC championship belt. Shipped straight to your door. Only $15. It's all in your hands. The funds of this contest will go on to buying a new championship belt every single month so we can do a giveaway. So don't miss it. Become the Intercontinental Champion of the IWC. For more info, look at the description below and you can see all the details there. Become the Intercontinental Champion.
I love that music. So here is the picture, and here is the barcode. I have all this on my X as well as my TikTok and my Instagram, as well as the video. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me, Miami, Panel Boss Baby, Reg, Greg, After Slam, any of us up. And we will be able to help you out if you have any problems with getting entered into the contest. Just make sure if you want to get in, make sure you get in by February the 28th. So yeah, shout out to everyone from DWE, the CEO, Miami the Great, head of the table, on the unseen shopping bling queen that said she was sleeping earlier during Graveyard NXT, Director Reg, World of Greg, and After the Slam podcast. Also shout out to Gimmick Table Media, the two lovely ladies from Wrestling Divas podcast, Lady Alpha and Autumn, as well as Kicking Out at 2, Michael and Tori. The Running Wrestling podcast with Michael as well, and also Benny from Suds and Square Circle Media, and Princess Just Skywalker, who does the majority of her work on YouTube. I don't see her much on our wrestling shows anymore. So shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. As far as my socials, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Please follow me on all my socials, because here in about a week, my streams are going to be on a lot of platforms. So definitely give me a follow on all these socials. On X, you can find me at EVPCJP. On Instagram at EVPCJP as well. And also on TikTok, it's at Brady DA Goat 21. It's not THE. It's at Brady the Goat 21. So I will be soon streaming to TikTok and Instagram. Once I go to the upgraded plan, because they only let me stream to 3 places at once right now. But most importantly, last but not least, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're not already, I'm 16 people away from 200 subscribers. That was my goal for WrestleMania. So I'm getting really close. And make sure you guys, if you go back and watch the stream tonight, make sure you guys like the stream and leave comments on the YouTube stream as well. That helps put my channel on the algorithm, and it's much appreciated. And you could go to the search bar if you're not subscribed and hit at the EVP show, and you will see a shit ton of shorts and a lot of lives coming up. So what I have coming up next, I'm off tomorrow and Thursday, but Friday I'm back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, as I will be back for your SmackDown recap. It should be a big show, 2 big, huge Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. And then Sunday, tune in Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for episode 7 of Sunday Scoops with the EVP, as I talk about Elimination Chamber, Brian Breaker news, Seth Rollins news, as well as planned WrestleMania matches as of now. I will give you guys the news for 30 minutes, open up the Q&A for the last 30 to 40 minutes of the show. Starting next week, starting Monday, I will go back to the Raw recap at 11 p.m. Eastern. I don't know, Miami always gets that time mixed up for some reason, but it's 11 p.m. Eastern Monday. Obviously going to see some more qualifying matches. We're heading into the Elimination Chamber. We're almost there, a few weeks away. Tuesday, it's not Doubleheader Tuesday anymore, so I will only be back at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for your NXT recap. And then Wednesday I'm off, but Thursday is the debut of a new show to the EVP show channel and also to DWE Network. It is going to be the TNA recap show. It'll be the first time that I will be recapping TNA. It is set for 11 p.m. Eastern for Thursday. It could be at 10:30. It just depends. But right now I have it set for 11 p.m. Eastern Thursday night. I may move that up to 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We will see. But the TNA recap show is coming to the EVP show channel starting next Thursday. So make sure you set the reminder for that once I get the thumb out, and tune in, because I will be doing that every week, as well as LFG when it starts back up. And then Friday, I'm back for another SmackDown recap at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And Sunday, I'm back for episode 8 of Sunday Scoops with the EVP at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for all your help and all your love and cooperation, for tuning in to Doubleheader Tuesdays for so many weeks and months. I will see you guys Friday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for the SmackDown recap. And I am the EVP of the EVP show and the golden boy of DWE. And DWE is the only place to be. Good night, everyone. I'll see you guys Friday night.